Yeah, after I survived suicide for the fourth time. So I asked God to give me a purpose in this life. Make social connection. Don't just be there alone. You know, try to make new friends. Try to.
Hi guys, thank you so much for watching us today. A quick message. You might be watching this but have not yet hit the subscribe button below. It will mean so much to me, to all of us, if you subscribe. The more the people watch us, the greater the guests that we'll have on this channel to inspire us with their stories and experiences. Thank you so much, and now let's dive in.
Thank you so much for this chance. I'm grateful. So my name is Purity Amani. I'm a counseling psychologist. I'm a mother. I'm a musician, and sometimes I also do comedy.
You are doing a pretty good job there, Purity. Now tell me, how did you get into the world of psychology?
Let me say, it's about my past experience. Apart from ever since I was young, I really wanted to do counseling. I didn't know there's difference between guidance and counseling. So what I was doing, I was doing counseling. Advice instead of counseling, until when I went to school. That's when I got to know there's difference between guidance and counseling. So, but what I went through ever since I was young, up to, let me say, up to 2014, 2015 is what has led me into doing counseling psychology. Yeah, after I survived suicide for the fourth time. So I asked God to give me a purpose in this life. And that's when that counseling psychology thing came to my mind. And I thank God I got a chance. I'm studying through sponsorship. And I've also been able to help a lot of people.
Purity, you are telling us that you attempted suicide 4 times. Could you please give us a backstory? Why did you feel that you were coming to the end of your life?
Okay. So, like I said, I'm a victim of rejection. I'm a victim of bullying. I'm also a victim of rape. Like, I've been raped 9 times with 8 different men, and one of them being my uncle. All that led to me feeling that the world doesn't need me, and even if I go, nobody will bother. But by the time I was trying to take my life, I already had 2 sons, and the fourth time I already had a set of twins. So I guess God saw that some people need me, so that's why He prevented me from all the suicide attempts, so that maybe I can be able to help people like I am now.
Today we're talking about depression, and specifically when you're dealing with a depressed person in marriage, either a wife or a husband. Are there any symptoms that we can look out for to know this person is no longer experiencing mood swings? It could be something more than that.
For example, okay, if someone is having a bad day, some people get to be cranky. But if someone is depressed, they become more cranky than usual. If your partner gets annoyed over little things more often, then here you start noting this is not normal. There's just that normal swing. Maybe you woke up with a bad day, maybe somebody annoyed, but here it becomes, it prolong. Let me use that word. If they are cranky today, tomorrow, the day after, the whole day, a whole week, a whole month, then you get to know that this is not normal. If they are always shouting, maybe the eating habit, you can also check on eating habits, sleeping habits, how they relate, if it's changing. So there's a cause to worry, and that could be a sign of depression.
So once a person has realized that their partner is going through depression, what steps can we take to support them?
Verbalize your support. Be there for them. also encourage them to seek a mental health professional or to see a doctor.
When you say verbalize, exactly what should we be telling them?
Ask them if they need any help. Ask them if they need you to be there with them, if they feel they want someone by their side more than the way you are there for them.
Purity, you mentioned that you have a personal experience with depression within a marriage. Was it you or your husband?
Both of us.
Tell us, what did you see in your husband that made you realize this was not just a mood swing, it was depression?
The anger management. He would fight, angepiga ukuta mangumi. He would start sleeping a lot. Like he's not a sleepy type like me. Like for me, I can sleep the whole day. But him, that person will sleep like 3 hours, 4 hours, wake up. But now I started sleeping for the whole day, the whole night. The eating habit, it could just take one meal a day, you see.
Yeah.
And that's it. Sometimes it doesn't take completely. If you ask him, he gets irritated, he starts shouting, he could leave the food and go and sleep. So I started noting, now this is not the man I married, so there is something. So I stopped approaching him in anger. But now, when I started noting the sleeping habits, when I started noting the anger, that's when I realized, no, this is not normal. This is not the kind of man I married. So I stopped being angry. I stopped being inquisitive. I started being lovingly, asking questions lovingly. That's when I came to know that he had lost his sister when they were young. So that's when we started walking that journey step by step. He had refused to open up to me completely, but I tried. It took months, but eventually he opened because I talked to him lovingly. I became now a friend. More than a wife, I became a friend. So I gave him a listening ear. So he opened up and we were able to walk through that. And slowly by slowly, he got healed, I can say.
What you're telling us is that when your partner is going through depression, we should step up and become a friend so that we can listen and talk to them rather than just being there as a wife or a husband. What if you have tried all these things, you have spoken to them, you have stepped up and become a friend that they need, but unfortunately it's not working, instead it's getting worse. They are engaging in alcohol and maybe drugs just to keep their calm. What can we do?
It's hard to control someone who is depressed and also doesn't want treatment. As a counselor, I always advise someone, if he has not yet turned into a violent person, don't give up yet. But if he turns into a violent person, that's when you can seek an alternative.
Is it possible to pass depression from one person to another? For example, if a wife is depressed, is it possible to pass the depression to the husband and the kids who are taken care of?
Okay, so in case your partner's depression increases, it's quite likely he or she can affect you and also pass it to kids, because kids are human beings.
Yeah.
They are seeing, they can feel. So it's more likely they can pass it to their partners and also their children. Okay, that's why I always encourage people to have at least one counselor in your life, because counseling helps one to control their anger, helps one to, deal with the situation around them. And if this person, for example, a wife or the husband, doesn't know how to control themselves, doesn't know how to deal with the situation around them, they may find themselves being influenced into depression. Because if this person is always cranky, if this person is always moody, this person is always angry, you'll find yourself also angry, because you'll be like, what am I not doing? If you're a man, I'm providing everything, I'm paying all the bills. I'm taking care of this wife. Why is she always shouting at me? Because, okay, you might not know it's depression. You may think that this woman is ungrateful. If it's the wife, I'm doing all the laundry, I'm cooking, I'm faithful to this man, I'm obeying him. Why is he always shouting at me? Why is he always shouting at children? Why is he always not taking my meals? Why is he always drunk? Why is he always late at home? See, so you start becoming angry, and if you get bad advice from friends, you might leave your house, you might leave your home, you might start beating your wife, you see, you might start cheating on your husband. So that's why I always encourage people to do counseling, because if you have a counselor in your life, or if you have counseling in you, you'll be able to know, to differentiate between moods and depression. You'll be able to know, no, this is not the kind of person I married, so there has to be something. And there I have to deal with it, not just like a husband, not just like a wife, but as a friend.
What don't we know about depression?
A lot. Okay, I'll give you a few tips.
Mm-hmm.
There are different types of depression. One, there is clinical depression. That this one is, it needs hospital,
Mm-hmm.
the doctor. There's also situational depression and more manageable feelings of sadness. So I'll say this: depression is not something you sleep off after a bad day, and it can last for years if not treated. And like I said, I will tell you, it is a real illness, and it can kill if not treated. Because that's why you find people who commit suicide mostly are depressed, and depression is rarely noted, and not unless you are keen to note those different behaviors from before. Because you'll hear just people saying, he just changed. He was a good man. She was a good lady, but she just changed. I don't know what happened. There's something happened that it did not trigger the depression immediately. It triggered depression later. See, that's why I
Mm-hmm.
said it can take even years. Also, something you don't know about depression is that children get depressed too. I had another lady from South Africa who was always beating the child because she was failing. And I asked her if I can talk to the child alone. So she left the room, we talked. And then when she came back, I told her, your daughter is depressed. And she was surprised. How can my daughter be depressed? She's not paying bills. She's not paying her school fees. She's not buying anything. And I told her her surrounding, how you handle at home, how she's handled at school, how she's handled at the community, all that. She is also a human being. She can feel, she can see, she can hear. And these days is not like before. So these days, this generation of kids are most likely to get depressed, unlike us kids of 90s. Because these days a lot is there. Social media, the world is changing everything. So all these, they are bound to depress a kid. So yeah, children to get depressed. I thank God the mom understood after I talked to her, and now I'm dealing with the child, and she's getting better. Even her grades are upgrading.
If a person that you're caring for does not want to go for counseling, would you advise the person taking care of them to actually go for counseling on their behalf? Is it even something that is done?
You can, because like I said earlier, the more you go to counseling, the more you'll be able to know how to deal with your partner and your surrounding and the situation. So if your partner doesn't want to go to counseling, you start by going to counseling. And even a depressed person can see something, can see a change. If the way you talked to her, the way you handle situations starts changing, it can also trigger that. And you'll be like, why is it that even if I shout at Molly these days, she doesn't shout? So what's going on? Because depressed people, what they need is love and friendship.
Right.
That's what depressed people need a lot. Love, a lot of love, a lot of, favorable environment. They don't need, if you start rejecting them or pulling away from them, you are adding fuel to the fire. What I don't encourage is violence. That's something that I cannot encourage. If they tend to be violent, take another alternative, because your safety comes first. And if children are there, they'll need somebody.
This was really enlightening. Thank you so much, Purity, for your time and for talking to us about depression and how we can handle a person who's depressed within a marriage. Before we go, do you have any parting shot?
Let me leave you with how to remain mentally healthy. Always pay attention to the present moment. Learn new skills. They'll help you, they'll distract you. Also, be physically active. It really, really helps a lot. Make social connection. Don't just be there alone. Try to make new friends.
Let's try to be kind to each other and friendly. The world needs peace and kindness. Thank you so much, Purity, for sharing your experience with us and also giving us insights on how we can deal with a depressed person within a marriage. We really appreciate you for your time.
Thank you too, and please don't forget to smile always.
Thank you so much for your support so far. We don't take it for granted. We appreciate you. Click the subscribe button below and let us grow together. Thank you. Ciao.